Hey guys, what's up? Menthur here. Welcome to today's video in which I am going to react to DM's latest video, which is called Path of Exile has a biggest problem. And I'm not going to spoil you what it is. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it.
If you've been watching Path of Exile 2 feedback videos, and some notable content creators like Crip and Zizarin have talked about this recently, you probably think that I'm about to talk about armor, considering the fact that I am a level 90.
Considering the fact that everybody's talking about armor right now and how bad it is. But let's continue.
Titan, I've been playing warrior. I was kind of a warrior advocate from the beginning, and I've been stacking armor. You would think that obviously the warrior guy is probably about to shit on how annoying it is that armor is not that good. Actually, this is not the topic of the video. Or if you've been watching the live streams recently and watched me play my mage, in which we tested out with my buddy over there from Starforge, magic find. You can see I have 184% magic find, and I can actually get even higher off this build. You're probably thinking about to talk about the magic find problem, as that has been a very notable discussion. I do have feelings on magic find, but actually no, this actually isn't my biggest issue.
Okay, now I'm actually really curious what he is going to talk about
at all with the game, funny enough.
But there's one thing I just want to say very briefly here. My first character is a monk, invoker monk on solo self-found. So when I first started the character, I completely focused on evasion, which also was a big mistake. Then later, when I got a little bit more gear and got my ascendancies and stuff like that, I focused a little bit more on energy shield and got very nice items. And just let me tell you, it's a night and day difference if you actually can focus on energy shield. It feels so much better. Your survivability goes up so much more. And now I actually also started a witch, and which is also going to focus on energy shield, because energy shield right now is completely broken, but that shit is probably going to get nerfed. Let's continue.
He literally sent me the message as soon as I logged in. Get more magic find, loser. Now, when you're playing through Path of Exile, from the very beginning of the game, they have quests that are on the side here that kind of tell you where to go and what to do. And if you open up your map, it's got these handy dandy little spikes here that sort of show you where to go. And they even mentioned in interviews that they wanted people to be able to feel the freedom to explore, but have direction and know what they're supposed to do if they feel like they're stuck. So they have these skulls on the map that will literally show you where you can go to get additional bonuses. So when I'm playing through a character,
I mean, that's really true. The campaign, I completely agree. The campaign is probably the best part of the game right now. I really enjoy the campaign a lot. And it feels very polished, doing all the quests like little dungeons, and you can switch the overlay map for above and underground. You can see what you have maybe missed out, and treasure hunting and going after those bosses with the permanent effects and all that stuff. It doesn't even feel as if you were playing an ARPG. It almost feels like you're playing a CRPG. It almost feels like you're playing some kind of, like a Baldur's Gate game or something, or like any Pathfinder game or something. It's like brilliantly done, especially Act 1. It feels great. Yeah, I love Act 1. And that's actually a main reason why I just started over with the Witch, just to experience the campaign again, because my monk hit like 83 or something, and I'm mapping like tier 9, tier 10 maps. And at one point I kind of got bored because the endgame doesn't really offer that much. And I was like, you know what? Let's try a different character. I want to experience the witch because I always love like necro characters. And it's just brilliant. I just hit a cruel difficulty, I think. I died twice. Overall, and I just hit cruel difficulty in Act 1, and then I stopped my stream because I want to experience that shit when I'm fresh again and well rested. So really looking forward to this. Okay, let's continue.
Character, I know, what am I supposed to do? Complete the Trial Master's Challenge, travel to the Molten Vault, enter the time portal, and I can actually click on these and they'll basically straight up show me on the map like where these different quests are located. Now, this helps with a sense of progression or meaning to my character, or at least it's the campaign, so I know I'm supposed to go here and do this. Basically, I don't feel confused. I know what there is to achieve, how I'm supposed to achieve that, and I can just either choose to do some of the side stuff or choose not to do it, but there's a main purpose that I'm supposed to go, in the direction in which I'm supposed to go.
Yeah, I agree with that, but there's one thing I'd like to note is that as I mentioned, like Act 1 is very, very good. It already feels very polished, but the moment you enter Act 2, the map is not as clear anymore. Sometimes in okay, now I'm going through the campaign the second time, so of course I have more experience, right? But when I was going through the campaign the first time, the Act 2 overlay map, like the world map, was actually very confusing to me. Like I really didn't know where to go sometimes. I was like, what do I have to do? Where do I have to really go? And I remember reading the quest log and then looking over the map and trying to figure out where I really have to go. So yes, I agree. It's it's very polished and stuff like that, and it kind of takes your hand and like leads you through the campaign and leads you through the areas and all the locations and stuff. But I think there's still something they could polish and make it a little bit more clear where you really have to go or where you really are right now. Even that is sometimes very confusing, so maybe they should just change some icons or something like that. But overall, yeah, I agree, it's very nice. The campaign is a complete different experience than what we experience later. So let's continue.
Now, once you get to Endgame, they continue this sense of purpose. You get to Endgame and you still have Doriani here, which gives you quests. It says, like, for instance, this is my SSF monk here. I'm level 82, complete tier 9 maps. I'm 3 out of the 8 of these. So I go on here and I complete these maps. But there is one even more critical objective that he gives you. They have this right here, this burning monolith in the middle. In fact, it's such a big objective that no matter where you are, there's a little skull that points you in the direction of the burning monolith.
Yeah, I think I found this monolith very, very early. I think from the starting point of the Atlas, I think it was just a little bit south or something. Maybe I was very lucky that I just got it very, very early. But now comes the big problem. So let's just watch it.
In fact, it's such a big deal that they even have 3 different quests that say travel to each of these citadels: the iron, the copper, and the stone citadel. Once you've completed your maps, these are basically the last quests that you have in the game. So you have a goal in Endgame, one that is very vocally, clearly directed at you. Go find the Citadels, and you're going to have these because the Pinnacle of the Flame says obtain the 3 Christ fragments, and you have the 3 Citadels here, and then you'll finish the maps before you find the Citadels, and that's where we come to the crux of my biggest issue currently in the game. The Citadels on the map in Endgame are completely RNG.
That's not the issue. I mean, yeah, they are RNG, but almost everything in Path of Exile is RNG. That's not the issue. Like, you're seeing this monolith, you're getting these quests, and just like he mentioned, I completely agree with that, because the moment you start the game, right, there's these quests that you have to follow, and you can follow them very easily because it's very well done. And then you hit the end game and you're still getting quests, and it kind of feels like, oh, that's actually nice. I'm not just throwing into cold water here and don't know what to do. There's actually quests that I can follow. And the moment I got the monolith, I did the same thing. I activated it or whatever, and I talked to some NPCs, and I got the additional 3 quests, those Citadel quests. Yeah, and then let's just continue. We'll see what happens.
There is no sense of direction at all. Once you actually get to maps and you're like, okay, I want to continue my quest.
Yeah.
There is no way, there's no direction, there's no go left, go right, there's no arrow, there is no nothing. It is literally go to the map and just randomly pick a direction and hope you run into a citadel.
Well, I was lucky that I think that happened while I was on stream, and one of my community members said like, hey, don't even focus on that now. And I was like, why? And he said like, that's very, very, very late game, like tier 15 stuff. And I was like, oh, really? Yeah, it's a pinnacle boss, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, good. Well, at least I already have the quest, then I already know what I have to build for or prepare for or farm for or trade for or whatever, like that was actually not a bad thing to get the quest very, very early on. So yeah, let's just continue.
Now, you might be playing the game and ran into plenty of these and think to yourself, I don't really understand why this is a complaint. Just play the game, you're going to come across them. Especially once you say, well, DM, your character's only level 82. You don't have that much of the map uncovered. I don't really understand your complaint. This isn't a big deal. Well, my friend, if I log on to my level 90 or my level 88, they're in the same league and therefore share the same atlas, you will...
Well, I didn't know that. I'm frank and honest with you. I started on solo self-found with my monk. And I mentioned I'm playing a witch now. And I actually transferred to the standard league, to the trade league, because I enjoy trading, I enjoy selling. So that's probably not going to happen in my case. I'm probably not going to be able to share the atlas because they're in different leagues. I think I can import like my solo self-found also into this league, and then they might be sharing the atlas because they already can share the hideouts. So yeah, we'll see about that. Let's continue.
To know this, I have only found one Citadel on the quest line here on the right-hand side, and I could show you this whole map that I've uncovered, and we could spend a while here of me going and zooming around all of this, or I could do /played and show you the play time on all of the different characters, okay? But you're just gonna have to believe me, because I don't feel the need to actually prove this one. I've played the game like a degenerate since the launch of the game. I have basically only ever seen one Citadel, and I have plenty of people that have told me they've played a very long period of time and have found exactly zero Citadels in the game. This is the one Citadel I have found. This guy right here. Now, when you find one of these, you have one attempt to defeat it. If you do not succeed and you die, this Citadel is now gone. You cannot.
This is like basically probably in my book, even the greater issue of the game, you know, like just having one chance in the end game, doing the maps with the events, be it a boss, be it whatever, like a ritual, delirium, or whatever it is. You only have one shot. If you miss it, if you die, the map is gone, the potential loot is gone, the potential boss fight is gone. And on top of that, you even lose XP. So that is actually my biggest problem. Yeah, I mean, looking for the Citadels is a pain in the ass, I agree. But losing everything upon one single death and not having another chance, that's my biggest problem, to be honest. Let's continue.
Not go back in and reattempt it, as it is a map, and much like the maps, you have one attempt to do these or you lose the bonus of the map, and this bonus of the map just happens to be one of the 3 fragments that you need. Keep in mind, I still have to find 2 more Citadels. Okay, I still have to find 2 more of these, and they're completely RNG, and I have to not drop any of the other 2 maps we find, and I have to hope, because these can repeat, that I don't find the same Citadel again. Then when you go to fight the Burning Monolith, the man has multiple one-shots that will one-shot you. Now, I'm not complaining about the one-shots.
Yeah, I mean, it's the pinnacle boss. It is supposed to be very, very, very hard, right? But yeah, I mean, just having one shot, how are you even going to farm this boss? And there's, yeah, let's just continue, but it is probably designed to be farmed, so... It's just fucking crazy, man. Like having just one chance to do like an end game system. Let's put it the other way. In the end game system, there is content that you can only do once, and if you fail, you cannot repeat it anymore. Like I said, like if you fail a map and there is a boss in the map, and you were not able to kill the boss is gone. And it's the same here. If you found the Citadel, oh, now you're lucky, right? Oh, thank God I have found the Citadel. Yeah, but if you fail that, something happens and you fail it, the Citadel is gone, and now you have to find it again. And you have seen how big the map already is, like the Atlas, and he only found one. And he probably played like hundreds of hours. Like, what the fuck is GGG even thinking, bro? Okay, let's go. Let's continue.
I understand it's the pinnacle boss and I need to get good. I get that part, okay? But you have gate kept of 3 Citadels that are RNG that you can't die on, to attempt a boss that has one shots that you basically need prior knowledge in order to understand how the boss even works. And then we have the only quest in the game that doesn't have any sense of direction at all. It is literally RNG, and you're running across the map in just any way. Maybe there's some pre-programmed layout that we haven't quite figured that out yet, but for intents and purposes of the player, this is basically fully RNG. I go out in whatever direction. I hope I run into a Citadel. I hope I don't mess it up even once. If I do, God help you. I have over 200 hours into mapping, and I've found one of these.
Yeah, it's just impossible. Like, even finding those Citadels, right, is like pure RNG, which is okay, because this is an RNG based game, which is okay. But then again, how are you supposed to even fight this guy if you don't even have a second chance? And if you fail, it's not like, yeah, now you have unlocked the pinnacle boss, you can try it over and over again. No, now you have to find the Citadels again. And you cannot die with the Citadels. If you die again, you have to find another Citadel. Like, it's just continues and continues and continues. There is a solution to this, though, and let's just continue.
This basically just boils down to, like, borderline unplayable content, depending upon how lucky you are to find these things. Now, in the original Path of Exile 1, as you're going through the mapping system and you're completing, you know, beat your tier 10 maps, beat your tier 12 maps, etc., they will give you, like, smaller bosses. It's like, oh, you're done with the tier 12s. When you beat that, you're going to get like this invite basically from completing the maps that give you automatically a boss fight to accomplish. And those boss fights have multiple attempts for you to be able to go into it. And if you fail it, let's say you fail all 6 of your portals, because you basically have 6 lives to go in, then what happens is the very next map you beat, you get an invite once again. And they have like quest versions of each of the different pinnacle boss. In this game, the pinnacle bosses that are not the mechanics of like Delirium or Breach, like mapping mechanic bosses, there's only one in-game pinnacle boss at the moment. I know it's early access, probably change, they'll probably add in more bosses, but at the moment the only...
I mean, it's not just gonna change, it's probably gonna change so drastically the next 3 months that we will probably not recognize the game anymore. Like, the campaign will probably not change that much because I think it's very polished. They just have to fix the little things. I don't know, maybe like decrease the size of the maps in, especially in Act 3. But I think the end game is going to change so much, and I also personally believe that the version that we have right now, like the end game version that we have right now, is not probably even the same version they are working on. They are probably already working on like the 3rd, 4th, or 5th version of this endgame system, and that version that they are working on right now, we will probably experience in like 2 or 3 months from now. So I think they just, you know, throw this out without even thinking about polishing it. It was just thrown out just so we have some endgame, you know. Yeah, let's continue.
Only early access pinnacle boss that's not tied to a mapping mechanic is the Arbiter, and it's complete RNG, and you only have 1 attempt on all of the pieces and 1 attempt on the actual boss itself, and there's no mechanic if you fail that, okay, go back out, find 1 more Citadel, and you get all 3 of the pieces. No,
yeah,
my friend. You have to go find all 3 of the
3
pieces again and hope you don't run into the same Citadels again. So you kind of feel like in the in-game you're just wandering aimlessly. And I know it's maps, and you know, the purpose of mapping is just to farm the game, and you know, that's good. You know, Path of Exile 2's in-game and mapping is like kind of the standard that people want, but because they've associated it with the Atlas, in which it is sort of a world, and they specifically want you to feel the feeling of exploration. This is something that was vocally, fairly clearly communicated by them previous to the game coming out. They want you to feel like you're exploring an actual world, and that's how they're doing the Atlas. That sense of exploration they got, but instead I'm exploring blind, completely with a blindfold over my eyes. I can't see where I'm going because I am exploring just completely randomly and just hoping to God that the next tower I uncover will just show me a Citadel.
Yeah, because that's the issue. To uncover the fog of war, you have to capture towers. And now comes another issue into the play. The towers are probably the weakest point right now in the end game. Don't even think about wasting your higher tiers on them, because what you really want to do in the tower is more or less rush to the stairs and activate the tower and be done with the map, because that's the way how you increase your view on the Atlas map, right? It makes sense, right? And so the fog of war actually disappears if you capture some towers. So that's very weak, because it feels completely boring. It feels completely more or less useless. And they need to change that. I don't know what they have to do, but maybe every tower should have a boss or something like that. I don't know. Like, there's many things that they could do, but the way it is implemented right now, and yes, like DM said, it is early access. We know that. We are aware of that. But still, the way that it's implemented right now makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, let's just continue.
I think there's very easy solutions to this, honestly. I'm not worried about this being a permanent problem, because I think this should change, and I'm assuming this will change at the moment. This is probably like their first iteration of it. You could literally have an arrow, sort of like you do when you move the Burning Monolith, that says go this way, that just point towards the Citadel. I actually straight up don't know a single reason why the Citadel is being secret. Has to be a thing. Maybe they don't want you to farm a ton of attempts and just use tier 1 maps to run straight there. You still have to beat the Citadel. You still only have one attempt. The Arbiter, so you still only have one attempt as well. And very often, these Citadels can be very far away. I mean, the first Citadel I found, you know, it's not close, my dude. It was all the way over here somewhere. I mean, hell, it's going to take me a while even to find the damn thing. So you would still have to do, like, a lot of mapping even to get there. And on top of it, by the time you've got strong enough where you could just push out quickly and farm these, then you're kind of trying to attempt pinnacle bosses literally anyway, and you're still going to have to do, if you fail the Citadel, you're still going to have to farm a lot more maps. So I don't see a reason why we can't have something indicating where to go. It's set in the precedent of all of the previous quests. This is the only pinnacle boss in the game. I think it was Zizarin in the video said that why not just have the towers, that when you clear the tower, like, points you in the direction of a Citadel or something, you could do that. It would fit thematically with the concept of the tower. Or honestly, really just anything.
I mean, at least when you are kind of close, maybe like 3 or 4 screens away from a Citadel, and you accidentally, right, captured the tower, then the tower should have some kind of indicator, maybe burn like with a different color, like maybe you see like the gold on the tower that he has captured, and like the green light on the bottom of the tower. That means that, you know, the tower is captured, right? As you can see on the north one, there is no green indicator on the bottom, so the north one is not discovered yet. I'm sorry, not captured yet. So the green one is captured, and maybe the light could change a little bit, and you know that, oh, I'm getting close, you know, it's getting hotter, right? It's getting hotter. I'm actually close to a Citadel right now, maybe only 3 or 4 screens away. And that's something that they could implement, and I think that's a good idea. But there's probably plenty of ideas. Let's go. Let's continue.
At all, because I find myself, I have a level 88 mapper, which I could go farm a bunch of, you know, items with my rarity character. I have a bosser in my Titan, but I don't have the motivation to, even though as someone who's literally a all-day streamer that gets paid to play the game, basically, with the characters that, you know, are for the content, I don't have the motivation to go out here and farm these Citadels.
Yeah, just like I said, that's the sole reason why I just restarted with a witch, because like I said, the campaign is probably the best part of the whole game right now, and that's going to change, of course, but right now it's the best part of the game. And also, like, I think I hit like 83 or something with my Invoker Monk, and played a ton of maps. And at one point I was like, why am I even doing this? Like, for what, right? Like, there's no purpose to this. There's the quest, but we just talked about it. So yeah, I was like, you know what? I want to experience the campaign again, because I only did it once with my monks, and just started a witch just because of that, because the campaign feels brilliant. Let's continue.
Realistically, the best thing to do currently is to farm the currency and just buy the fragments over the trade, which I don't like that solution. Now, I can go through some of the other pinnacle bosses. You know, I feel like the breach boss is like fairly accessible, a decent value. You can farm enough splinters. I could go through some, like, the accessibility of some of the other pinnacle bosses. Really, I think these will be tuned as well. For me, the core crux of it is this one: the Burning Monolith, the Arbiter, the primary, like, pinnacle boss that you literally have multiple. You have 4 quests that points you in the direction of this boss should be something that you have access to as a player. And it isn't even like once you beat it once, you're done. That's just not how this boss actually works. It's designed to be farmed like all of the bosses. If you actually look at your Atlas tree, literally, you get points for these. You get a whole tree. So you beat them once, you get 2 points, and you can go arbiter difficulty, arbiter difficulty, you have to kill them a bunch of times.
How who the fuck is even going to do that? Like, who is going to kill this guy over and over again? Who's going to farm this guy even? It's like you said, it's almost impossible to play, you know, like it's almost impossible to partake in this endgame system. Yeah, he also mentioned buying that. I didn't even know, by the way, that you could buy those fragments. I think that's a very, very bad solution to this guy. I mean, there's going to be a ton of people just buying their way into, you know, killing the Arbiter and stuff. But I was never a fan of this thing. I enjoy trading, and that's why I started with my witch actually on trade. But I only enjoy trading when I'm selling something. I never enjoyed buying my stuff and buying things and items and literally buying your success, because I think if you do that, you can do it. Don't get me wrong. Everybody plays differently. But I always felt if I buy my success into something, it's like a shortcut, and I'm diminishing my fun, to be honest, you know. And that's why I don't really like buying fragments and then doing stuff like that. It should be easier for the, you know, like for the regular player to also access this kind of stuff. But as we can see, the Arbiter, like the Pinnacle boss, even has a passive tree attached to it. Like, who is going to do that? This guy, DM, played hundreds of hours and only found one Citadel. Only one. And he hasn't even killed the Arbiter yet. Let me just rewind back. Has he actually killed him?
To be farmed like all of the bosses. If you actually look at your Atlas tree.
No, it's 0. You could see it's 0 out of 8. So he hasn't even killed this guy yet. And he's a streamer. He streams for like 10 hours a day or something like that. And he hasn't even killed this guy yet. Like, who's even going to do this and kill this guy like 20 times? It's almost impossible. You would probably need to invest like thousands of hours to do that. Like, it's definitely something they have to work on, and they will probably work on. That's like 100% sure and guaranteed. But still, like, this is something, and I agree with them. This is probably a very big issue, and a lot of people don't like the end game because of that, because it's boring, and some things you can't even achieve, right? Like this, for example. Let's continue.
Literally, you get points for these. You get a whole tree. So you beat them once, you get 2 points, and you can go arbiter difficulty, you have to kill them a bunch of times. So it is designed to be farmed in every way except getting the pieces of material you need to actually farm him. So I would absolutely love to engage with this mechanic more. But in order to do it, they're asking me to play for literally hundreds of hours without failing any of the things, and that's with my current RNG.
That's not even hundreds of hours, because he already has played hundreds of hours. It's probably thousands of hours just to, you know, like kill him maybe once or twice, and that's completely out of control. Completely. But again, yeah, I know it's early access, and that's going to be changed. We know that.
Some people that played 10 hours and got 3 Citadels. I don't know. That you could exist out there. If you do, you know, God bless you. But for as much as I've played this game and being able to actually see what the current rate is for me on my Atlas tree, and that's the other thing, all my characters are tied to the same Atlas here, right? You know, the odds of me getting a Citadel are extremely low, to the point of hundreds of hours per Citadel at the moment. And I just don't have the motivation in me to chase that outside of economically chasing. So the best way for me to do this is to literally stack rarely, play with a friend, make as much currency as possible, and then use that currency to purchase the fragments in order to actually get the Citadel itself. So for me, that's my biggest point of feedback. I sure hope this changes, because I would love to interact with the Pinnacle bosses more. I find the fights to be typically very enjoyable. I mean, the unique bosses in this game are great, but once you get into the in-game and you get to the point you basically just one-shot all these bosses, is sort of the in-game of it. So I would like to actually engage with the Pinnacle boss fights that are like actual boss fights, like the Breach boss. Fucking awesome. okay, really good fight. I lost to him multiple times. I was able to beat him. You know, huzzah, great moment. You still have other iterations of him to fight, etc. But this pinnacle in particular, the one the game is actively telling me to pursue, just feels basically unachievable outside of just getting lucky with this.
I mean, just think about it. If a streamer and a YouTuber says it's unachievable, just think about it. Just think about what that really means. Like, it's just, they have to change this completely. Like, they have to change it so much from the ground, you know, they have to turn like to 180 degrees or something. Because if a streamer cannot achieve something, you guys out there have no chance. Unless, like I said, stack rarity, farm your currencies, and then you can maybe buy those fragments, and then you can attempt the pinnacle boss, right? But if you really want to just pursue the quests and do it like how it's supposed to be done, you have literally no chance.
Say that was showing up. So that's my feelings on the matter. You're welcome to disagree, but for me, that is currently the thing that's killing the motivation to play in the end game. That's about it.
So yeah, thanks for watching, and I also stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Menthur, and why don't you just come by and say hello? And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, and bye bye. Peace out.